Hey everyone, in this video we're going to talk a little bit about my mental health. After me taking a little time off, a lot of people have been asking questions. I even got an email, someone was concerned about me. And so I thought I would make a video and have a very frank discussion about my mental health. I don't know that we've ever done this on the channel, and I know for a lot of you this is not going to interest you. So if you're not into hearing very depressing, very sad things about my mental health, because it's going to be a downer, feel free to just skip this video. I won't hold that against you. But there are some of you who are concerned or who want more information about kind of, who I am and what I deal with on a daily basis. And I don't know if I'll put anything on screen here. We might be looking at my avatar this whole time. I might put some B-roll on, but honestly, I just can't be asked to record anything at the moment. So like this is already probably too much, but I feel so terrible for not putting anything on the channel. So even doing this audio is a bit much, but whatever, we're gonna do it. And then one more disclaimer, I deal with some very dark things on a pretty daily basis, and I understand that to many people on the outside, when they hear these things, they become very alarmed and they become very concerned. YouTube suppresses any video that's it talks about any kind of harm that's directed inward, if you get what I'm saying. YouTube is very strict about anything that contains mentions of like a self, removal from this existence sort of thing. So I can't really say a lot of the words that are associated with that. So this might be a little awkward as well. And honestly, YouTube will probably suppress the video anyway, but we're going to get into it. Okay, so one thing I get asked a lot is, what is your diagnosis? And so I go currently to 2 different therapies and to a psychiatric, like the guy who prescribes my medicine, and then I have those 2 therapies on the side. And each of those 3 places has their own diagnosis as to what they think kind of is going on with me. So I know I talked in recent episodes about possibly being getting assessed for autism, for whether I'm have autism spectrum disorder. That's not official. I don't know if I said that in the video or what. It's not official. One of my therapists has been really pushing me to do that because she's pretty convinced that I am, and I think that I am as well. But I'm just worried that a doctor would reject that, and then I would just feel terrible because now I don't have a word for what's going on with me. So that's one thing. The main thing that I would say inhibits my life from being normal is my severe depression, and it is among just imagine whatever your most severe version of depression is in your head. That's pretty much what I have. It is a constant daily struggle. Even when I'm feeling well, things are very bad in my brain, and I compensate by having like a media addiction. So I'm always playing games, I'm always watching a YouTube video in the background. I drive for work, and if I don't have constant stimulation when I'm driving for work, I will spiral into severe, very depressing, scary thoughts about let's just call them intrusive self-harm type thoughts, which is really bad when you're on the road in control of a vehicle and you start thinking about swerving into the opposite lane. That's obviously a very scary situation to be in. So in those situations, I just try to compensate by having media. So I listen to lots of audiobooks, podcasts, NPR, talk radio, that kind of stuff. Anything to distract me. Sometimes I talk to myself in the car like I'm talking to you now, as though I have someone there that I'm speaking to, when in reality I'm alone. I don't know if that's like a part of my mental health stuff, or if that's just because I stream, I make content, so I'm used to talking to an unseen audience. And I've learned that I process things better when I vocalize them, so it almost always helps me to say something out loud. If I'm really struggling and it's stuck in my brain, saying it out loud helps me calm down quite a lot. So I really like talking to myself as well in the car. I don't do it publicly. I know how people perceive that, so it's just when I'm alone in the car. But so the depression is consistent through all of my different doctors and things. That's like the most the most consistent diagnosis that I have is for my depression. I also have generalized anxiety disorder, which is just general anxiety. That's very tied to my PTSD. I have pretty severe PTSD. A lot of it relates to when I was a child and a lot of the things I went through as a child. I was just thinking about this last night, so this might be an intense story. God, I'm supposed to be giving you my diagnoses. Yeah, so this is probably rambly, but so I was thinking about this last night. Just as an example of my PTSD. When I was a little boy, I was probably 5 years old. My mother got remarried. She married, or married for the first time, actually, to a man who was not my father, so he became my stepdad. And my stepdad hated doing things for me because I was a 4-year-old and needed a lot of care, as most 4-year-olds do. And so he became very irritated that I couldn't tie my shoes, even though I was, in his mind, I was old enough that I should be tying my own shoes, and it was a constant frustration for him to have to tend to me and tie my shoes and whatever. Anyway, to make a long story short, the way he taught me, quote unquote, to tie my shoes was that he beat me with one of my mother's shoes and locked me in a dark closet and basically told me I couldn't come out until I had tied the shoe. And thankfully, my uncle had tried to teach me previously, so he taught me a little song about how to tie your shoes, and I just tried to remember the song sitting in the darkness in a closet. And eventually I, banged on the door. You get through the crying and the scared of the dark and all that stuff, and I banged on the door and was like, I did it, I tied the shoe. And to make sure it wasn't a fluke, he beat me with the other shoe, locked me back in the closet, and told me I couldn't come out until I tied that one either. So that's just a random example of childhood trauma, and I think of this, so that was 32 years ago. I think of this every single time I tie my shoes, and so that's an example of how something that is traumatizing, even though it was 30 plus years ago, even though I'm an adult now, I haven't seen that man in a long time, that is a constant reminder of that abuse every time I tie my shoes. So it's just stuff like that. That's what PTSD is. It's these constant unwanted thoughts that pop in my brain that destabilize me and push me into anxiety and mostly fear. And it plays a big role in my agoraphobia, so that's been pretty bad lately as well. My agoraphobia, I haven't been able to leave the house to do a lot of the things that I normally kind of need to do. So I've been putting off going to the supermarket basically as much as possible, and I don't go until I'm literally out of everything, and then I go and make one trip and just try to get in and out as quick as I can. Anywhere that there's a lot of people is very triggering for me, especially when they're large or angry looking men is something that really triggers me. So the agoraphobia has been really bad. I haven't been keeping up with my appointments and stuff. And then if you think that I am on the spectrum for autism, then it's my care needs, maybe it's care needs, and it's not maybe my support needs are just a little bit more. Maybe it's not 100% agoraphobia. Maybe it's part of my condition that I just struggle to do a lot of the normal things that people do, like appointments and maintaining hygiene and feeding yourself and things like that are normally very easy for people. And that's been difficult as well, trying to navigate that and understand, because a lot of people will look at you and say, oh, well, you're just immature, or you never grew up, or whatever they want to phrase it. But in many ways I am emotionally stunted, so I'm a 19 or 20-year-old despite being in my 30s. Anyway, I'm ranting. So back to the diagnosis. So the depression's the one that constantly derails my life. The PTSD is more of an internal, doesn't affect me too much on the outside for most circumstances. So for example, if I'm at home, my PTSD is mostly under control. Every now and then something traumatic from my past will pop in my brain and it's a struggle, but mostly it's only when I'm out of the house or surrounded by people or in a lot of those situations. My anxiety, my PTSD, those two go hand in hand. But the depression, even when I'm at home or I'm in a safe place like my car, the depression is constantly running rampant through my life. And lately I've just been struggling to do literally anything. I have therapy tomorrow. I'm going to ask them about when should I consider entering a facility. My internal negative thoughts have gotten really super bad lately, and a lot of them are about harm, which is concerning, and I haven't planned to do anything. Just again, this is one of those things that makes people super alarmed, and they think that oh my god, he needs help right now, should I call 911? And it's no, this is a pretty standard, not uncommon experience for me. I've had very hateful inward thoughts since I was 7 years old. It's the first time I remember having very harmful, the idea of physical harm being involved or end of life type thoughts at 7 years old. So this has been a pretty constant for 30 years. And when you say that out loud, if I'm in therapy, they earlier this year they were talking about give me one reason why I shouldn't call right now to have you committed. And I didn't really know what to say, and I was kind of startled because it's I've been dealing with this for a long time, so to other people it sounds oh my god, he's gonna really do something. But to me it's no, this is just Tuesday. Like, this is just how it is all the time. Just all the time. Like like if I don't have constant stimulation, it's constant thoughts of those things. And lately I've been having a lot of trouble focusing on anything or being occupied by anything. I try to play games, they don't make me happy anymore. I try to make content, but that's just work and it's very tedious. And then I have a lot of inadequacy and stuff. And then like last week I had 4 appointments out of the 5 days of the week, and it was just so overwhelming. I would just come home and I would stare at the computer monitor and I couldn't focus on anything. I haven't been able to focus on the podcast when I go to work. I've just been constant, so severe, like internal hate, like just directed inward at myself. And it's getting to the point where I don't feel like anything helps. I've been in therapy for like over 10 years. I've been on probably like 12 different psychiatric medications. We just started a new one. I'm currently tapering off of escitalopram. We're down to 10 milligrams because I have to wean off of those apparently. And we just started vilazodone hydroclo something, generic form of Vibryd, VIIBRYD. I don't know what those are, but I just started those like last week. And then I'm on the Risperdal, which is my antipsychotic slash mood stabilizer slash whatever you want to call that. I don't know what those are called. And then I'm on I forget what this one is called, hydroxyzine, I think. Hydroxyzine pamoate for Vistaril. This is an anti-anxiety medication. Currently I'm taking like 8 pills a day for various reasons. Some of these are like medical related. I have other medical pills here, but yeah, I'm on a lot of medication. I go to therapy every Wednesday. I have 2 separate therapies and they're every 2 weeks. So every week I have something, but it alternates between which. I'm currently going to be evaluated to start DBT therapy. So like the stuff I'm in now is like cognitive behavioral, which is pretty like typical therapy stuff that you would picture. And then I am going to be starting DBT, which is dialectic behavioral therapy, which is supposed to be focused for people who have really intense, uncontrollable emotional issues. So to my understanding, it will probably be a group of like people who have bipolar disorder or maybe a little schizoaffective disorder or something that makes it like really difficult to control your feelings in the moment. And I just don't know what that group's going to be like. I'm a little scared to go to another group therapy because there will be people there. And it's in the city and I have to drive pretty far. But I'll be starting that probably in a few weeks. I have to be evaluated for insurance purposes. And then they wanted me to start a social group basically for people with very severe social difficulties to try and basically just make friends. One of my constant struggles is that I'm alone all the time. I have no friends. I have no partner. I have like 2 family members that I interact with. I have no one really in the world, and sometimes it doesn't bother me at all. I've been alone for a long time. I know like so I'm 36 and my family is home. I can't really speak very openly when they're here. I try to censor things so that they don't know how severe it is. But we did have a nice conversation last week where I told them that I've been really, really struggling. And they don't really understand, you know, their main concern was like, well, you're not thinking of hurting yourself, are you? And I just had to lie to them and be like, nope, it's fine. But tomorrow when I have therapy, I'm going to ask them, how do I know if I need to go to a mental health facility? Because I feel like things are getting so much worse and I'm not functional. I'm not bathing. I'm not eating. I'm not brushing my teeth. I'm not leaving the house. I'm not doing anything productive. And I just sit all day and I just am so miserable in a way that I don't recall being so bad before. And I don't know what to do anymore. I think I might quit my job and apply for disability. I've had one of my therapists encouraging me, saying that I have very severe, like one of the disorders. When I talked to her about it, she was like, well, one of your disorders, the psychopath, whatever, not psychopathy, but basically I have something that has psychosis in the name. I don't remember that part of the diagnosis, I'm sorry. But it was basically because I hear things sometimes that aren't real, which that has started again as well. A few days ago, I was hearing things when I was trying to sleep and I knew they weren't real. And I was so nervous because that's starting again and I don't know how to navigate that. And I'm on an antipsychotic already that should help suppress those things, but apparently, you know, I don't know. So she was suggesting that maybe disability facility is something that would actually benefit my life pretty significantly. I don't know if I agree necessarily, but I don't know that I can keep going the way I've been going. Things have just been really hard. My job is so bad. My mental health is so bad. Every relationship I try to open up, people don't want me, and it just becomes overwhelming. Everyone leaves, everyone abandons you. That has been my experience. Every person that I start to invest in emotionally, just as a friend or whatever, they end up seeing the darker side of me where I'm super depressed, and then they don't want anything to do with me, and then I feel very alone because it's very personal, because it's like clearly they are pulling back because I'm messed up, and then that just makes you feel more messed up, and then that causes you to be more messed up. And I don't know how much more of that I can take. I've been alone for like 10 years. And I don't even mean like a partner. I just mean a friend, you know. I really thought Discord would bring me friends, but I'm just so awkward. Even when people reach out and they're like, hey, I just want to let you know we can talk if you want to talk, because I've seen your videos where you sounded really distressed, and I'm worried about you. Even in those situations, I'm like, they don't really want to talk to me. They don't really want to have a conversation. They're just doing the nice thing. And then so because of my own social awkwardness, I don't reach out or accept their offers. And then you're just alone more, and it just makes it worse. Anyway, so this has been 18 minutes before editing. My family's home. I can't really speak very openly when they're here. I forget what the point of this video was. I think I was supposed to tell you about my diagnosis and therapy, and it just turned into whatever the fuck this is. So, everyone, I'm not doing very well, and I don't really know what to do to get better, and I feel like there is no getting better. I feel like my hope is dead, which all this time when everything was so bad, for all these years, for many years, I always had hope in the back of my head. I always hoped that I would sell a book and make a little bit of money that would help ease our financial burdens, or I thought I could grow on YouTube and maybe turn that into a career of something I'm actually interested in. But all roads seem to point back to like factory work and being alone and just struggling until one day down the road you can't take it anymore and you exit. And that's I don't know. Look, I don't want people to be alarmed. I'm sure there will be people who are very alarmed by hearing me talk this way. This is just my daily thing, and it has been for a long time. And so I think to people on the outside, it sounds terrifying, especially when all you know about me is like these scripted videos that I do where I'm pretty, well put together. I'm chuckling, all that stuff. But inside has always been so difficult for me, and I'm getting to the point where I don't know what to do anymore, and I feel like checking into a facility is like the nuclear option, where I would lose my job and my family would not understand, and what do you do after that to improve? I don't really know what to do anymore. I'm working very closely with my therapist. We're trying to expand to more therapies and things like that. But I don't know when there will be more content, I guess. I probably won't even record like a game to put underneath this so you have something to look at, because that's just too much for me to, I just don't care. We're not going to do that probably. So yeah, this was supposed to put people at ease and to make them understand a little bit more that this is pretty common and I'm going through something. But I think once I get into editing, I'm going to realize that this is just going to scare a lot of people, and I might not post it. I don't know what to do here, I guess. 20 minutes of me being the real me is, yeah, no one likes that. All right, well, I guess I should call this one. Everyone, thanks for taking the time to listen to me ramble. I don't know. Please don't think less of me. I can't help it. It's not a choice I'm making. It's not a bad decision that I made in the past. This is just who I am most of the time. And I already feel like everyone judges me. It doesn't matter. Anyway, thanks for being here. I'll be back at some point probably with some kind of video, and we'll go from there, I guess. So everyone, thanks for being here. I'll see you next time.